Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss some of the past paper questions from Unit 6 Plant Nutrition. Okay, and these questions are from IGCSE papers. So let's begin. The first question is, which row shows the most likely number of chloroplasts in three types of cells in a leaf? Okay, so we are aware that leaf is an organ and inside leaf we have different types of cells. So the uppermost and the lowermost layer of cells in the leaf is known as epidermis. Then we have palisade mesophyll cells, and these are guard cells. Third one which they have given is guard cells. So you actually have to check in this question the number of chloroplasts which are approximately present in these three types of cells. So A, they have given epidermis 0, palisade mesophyll cells 6, and guard cells 70. B, it's 0, 17 and 6. C, 6, 17, 0. And D is 17, 0 and 6. So the correct answer for this question is option B. Okay. Why? Because we are aware that you have studied in previous classes that the upper and lower epidermis of leaves, these are transparent. Okay, these cells are transparent. They don't have chloroplast. And the reason for being transparent is chloroplast is absent because the process of photosynthesis mainly takes place in mesophyll cells. Okay, palisade mesophyll cell and spongy mesophyll cells. That's the reason epidermis or epidermal cells have no chloroplast, because if when light will pass through these epidermal cells, some of the light energy might get absorbed by the chlorophyll molecules present in epidermal cells. So the light energy which will be available to these mesophyll cells will be very less. Hence what happens? Epidermal cells have no chloroplast. They are they are adapted in this way that they're transparent. They have no chloroplast or no chlorophyll. Okay, so epidermis is having 0 chloroplast. Palisade mesophyll cells, because palisade mesophyll cell is the one in which maximum amount of photosynthesis process takes place. Hence, it has the largest number of chloroplasts. Then we have guard cells. Guard cells are the cells which actually surrounds stomatas which are present in the lower epidermis of leaf. So stomatas are the openings through which exchange of gases takes place. Carbon dioxide gas goes inside, and then oxygen and water vapors, they move outside the leaf. Okay, so this opening is known as stomata, and the cells which actually surrounds or the cells which guard these openings are known as guard cells. So these guard cells also have some of the chloroplast. Okay, so B is the correct answer. Epidermis is having 0 chloroplast, palisade mesophyll 17, and guard cell is having 6 chloroplast. The next question is, the diagram shows part of a leaf in cross section, and they have labeled X and Y. So you have to tell structure X and Y are both part of the same cell, organ, tissue and vessel. Okay, so X is palisade mesophyll cell. Okay, and Y is actually your guard cell. Now, if you will read the question properly, you will understand that palisade mesophyll cell is a part of leaf. Okay, leaf is an organ, and this guard cell is also a part of leaf, and leaf is an organ. So the correct answer is your option B, organ. Third question is, how do carbon dioxide and oxygen gas move in and out of a mesophyll cell? This question you have also studied in Unit 3, that is movement in and out of cells. There we have discussed about diffusion and osmosis. So about diffusion we have studied there. All these gases or exchange of gas always takes place in any living organism by the process of diffusion. Okay, so the correct answer is option B, diffusion. Question 4, which element is found in a molecule of chlorophyll? So we have studied about mineral requirements in plants, and we know that chlorophyll formation requires magnesium element. Okay, so magnesium is important for the process of formation of molecule chlorophyll. Fifth question, the diagram shows a section through a leaf. Okay, this is the longitudinal section of a leaf. Which cell type absorbs the most carbon dioxide during day? Now they have given a condition. It's a daytime. Okay, so during daytime, out of these A, B, C, D cells, which type of cell will absorb maximum amount of carbon dioxide? Now you know that plants, they need carbon dioxide for the process of photosynthesis. Okay, this is well understood because carbon dioxide is a raw material in the process of photosynthesis. So plants, they require carbon dioxide gas. Okay, why do they need carbon dioxide gas? They require carbon dioxide for the process of photosynthesis. Now we are aware that A actually represents epidermal cells. So we know that epidermal cells, in them chloroplast is absent, hence no photosynthesis can take place. So this option gets wrong. B is palisade mesophyll cells. Okay, in palisade mesophyll cells we have maximum amount of chloroplast. So maximum amount of photosynthesis takes place in B, that is palisade mesophyll cells. Hence the correct answer for this question is option B. Let's look at option C and D also. Option C actually represents your xylem cells, okay, xylem tissues. How to identify these vascular tissues you will learn in transport unit, that is transportation in plants. Okay, so C is actually your xylem tissues, and xylem tissues are actually involved in conduction of water and minerals. Hence this option gets wrong. And D is your spongy mesophyll cells. Now we are aware that in spongy mesophyll cells also photosynthesis takes place. But when we talk about the number of chloroplasts, so number of chloroplasts in case of palisade mesophyll cells are present in very high amount compared to this D. Okay, that is spongy mesophyll cells. Hence the correct answer is option B. Next question is a question from paper number 6, that is alternatives to practicals. So look at this question carefully. An experiment was carried out to find out if carbon dioxide is needed for photosynthesis or not. Okay, so this experiment is carried out in order to investigate the importance of carbon dioxide gas for the process of photosynthesis. So here the controlled variable is carbon dioxide gas because they're investigating the importance of carbon dioxide for the process of photosynthesis. Now they have actually performed this experiment by using these following steps. First, they have taken two plants, A and B, of the same size, and these species were kept in dark for 48 hours. Okay, so they have taken two plants A and B of same species. Now here this point is very important. You have to take plant of same species. Okay, and they have kept it in dark for 48 hours. Now the purpose of keeping it in dark was obviously to discharge the plant completely. Then later on, a leaf from each plant was then tested for the presence of starch using iodine solution to show that discharging was complete. Now after keeping the plant in dark for 48 hours, these leaves, one leaf from each plant was taken and these leaves were tested for the presence of starch, just to check if the starch is present or not. And obviously after keeping the plant in dark for 48 hours, no starch would be found in the leaves. Third step was both plants were placed in sealed glass containers as it is shown here in the picture. This is plant A and this is plant B. Now both the plants were kept in a sealed glass cover. Okay, this is sealed glass cover. But the conditions which were provided to these both plants were different. In plant A, inside glass cover, in a small bowl, potassium hydroxide crystals were placed. Okay, potassium hydroxide beads, or you can say crystals, were placed. Okay, but in case of plant B, instead of using potassium hydroxide beads, glass beads were used. That is small glass balls. Okay. Now here, why this potassium hydroxide was placed? This potassium hydroxide was placed in order to remove carbon dioxide from the air. Okay, so this potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide has the property of absorbing any carbon dioxide which is present in its surrounding air. Okay, so any carbon dioxide, if it is present in the surrounding water or in surrounding air, this potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide can easily absorb that carbon dioxide. So we have kept sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide beads here so that it can absorb all the carbon dioxide gas from the air which is trapped inside the glass cover. And you are aware that, or you have studied that, this experiment, in the beginning of this question it was mentioned that this experiment was conducted in order to identify, or in order to test, or in order to investigate the importance of carbon dioxide gas for the process of photosynthesis. Hence here carbon dioxide gas, it becomes, it's actually a limiting factor. Or you can say it's a factor which is being investigated in this particular experiment. Okay, And this plant B is actually being provided everything. Okay, this plant B is receiving carbon dioxide gas, it is receiving appropriate amount of sunlight, it is receiving water, and it already have chlorophyll in leaf. So this plant will perform photosynthesis, as this plant is having everything which is required for the process of photosynthesis. So this plant is your control plant. Okay, so this is your control plant, and this plant A is your experimental plant. Okay, this plant A is your experimental plant and plant B is your control plant. Now the first question which they have asked is, the stages involved in testing a leaf for starch are shown below. The stages are in correct sequence, but the reasons are in wrong order. Okay, so these stages for testing of starch is given here, and the stages are in correct order, but the reason which has been given for these stages is in wrong order. So you have to use straight lines to match the stages with the correct reasons. One has been done for you. So we boil leaf in the water. Now the purpose of boiling leaf in water is to break down cell membrane so that the iodine solution can easily move inside the cells. The correct answer for first one is to break down cell membranes. Turn off any naked flames. This they have already done. Ethanol is flammable. Boil the leaf in ethanol or alcohol. So we boil leaf in alcohol to remove any chlorophyll which is present in the leaf. This is because if chlorophyll will remain in the leaf, so this green color of chlorophyll will actually mask the blue-black color of iodine, or it will mask the orangish brown color of iodine. Okay, hence the purpose of boiling leaf in ethanol is to remove chlorophyll. Soak the leaf in water. Now what happens is, after we boil leaf in alcohol or ethanol, the leaf becomes brittle. That means, for example, if the leaf is present in folded shape like this, and if you try to open up the leaf after boiling it in alcohol, the leaf will break because the leaf gets brittle. So what we do after boiling ethanol, after boiling leaf in ethanol, we soak leaf in water for a few seconds. Okay, so this soaking of leaf in water is important because it softens the leaf. Okay, it makes the leaf soft. Then at last, iodine solution is added to the leaf. So this iodine solution is added to the leaf because this iodine solution combines with starch and gives blue-black color. So appearance of blue-black color shows you the presence of starch, and if there is no blue-black color appeared, yellowish or brownish or orange color of iodine remains, that means no starch is present, starch is absent. So iodine solution is added in order to test the starch. Okay, so so this one is the correct answer. The next question is, explain why chlorophyll is removed from the leaf before testing it for starch. Now this is very important. I've told you this question here is asked for 1 mark, so remember you have to write down one correct point. Chlorophyll is removed from the leaf before testing it for starch because the green color of chlorophyll will mask the color of iodine solution. Okay, so you can write down that green color of chlorophyll will mask the color of iodine solution. Hence, it is important to remove chlorophyll before testing it for starch. Apart from this, you can also use the sentence, or you can also write the statement like to get appropriate or to get fair result. Okay, fair result or to get appropriate color of the iodine solution. Let's see what's it in the marking scheme. In marking scheme, they have written chlorophyll masks the color change shown with iodine, or alternate word. So alternate word here represents like, chlorophyll masks the color change, or you can write down chlorophyll can mask the color of iodine, the color which iodine will get after combining with the starch. Okay. Next question is, state 2 factors other than carbon dioxide that both plants would need in order to perform photosynthesis. So apart from carbon dioxide, plants require sunlight. Okay, plants need water. Okay, so these 2 factors you can write down here, sunlight and water. remember not to write chlorophyll because chlorophyll is already present in the plant. So if you write chlorophyll, the answer will get rejected. They're talking about factors, so you need sunlight and water. C is plant B was used as a control in this experiment. So explain the importance of this control. Now always remember, in every experiment which we conduct in laboratories, we should have a control. Okay, or you can understand that every experimental question which is asked in ATP papers, okay, or which will be asked in future in ATP papers, all these experimental questions will always have one control setup. Okay, so this control is always used in experiment so that at the end when we get the result, okay, result for the experimental setup and the result for the controlled setup, so we can easily compare the result of experimental setup with the result of control setup. Okay, so the importance of this control is that at the end of the experiment we can compare the results which we get, and after comparing we can actually understand whether our experiment is correct or not. So how to write it in a proper way, we'll learn from marking scheme. So this control plant was actually used to show that that carbon dioxide gas is actually important for the process of photosynthesis, because experimental plant was not given photosynthesis but control plant was given, because experimental plant was not given carbon dioxide but controlled plant was given carbon dioxide. Okay, so this shows that carbon dioxide gas is important for the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so control plant is used to show that the factor which is being investigated in the experiment is important or necessary for the process of photosynthesis. D, explain why the plants were destarched. Now this destarching of plant was important to perform the experiment so that we can get fair results towards the end of the experiment. Otherwise the importance of carbon dioxide for the process of photosynthesis could not be tested or investigated properly. E is complete the table, use ticks and crosses to show if the starch test for plant A and B would be positive or negative at stage 2 and 4. In each case, explain your answer. So here they have given you a table. Okay, stage 2 and stage 4 is given. Leaf from plant A and B, and for 4 also they have given A and B. You just have to put tick mark or cross mark and then you have to explain your answer. Okay, so stage 2 is a leaf from each plant was then tested for the presence of starch using iodine solution to show the destarching was complete. Okay, so this was after destarching the plant. After you have destarched the plant, and you will test the leaf from both plant A and B. Obviously, after destarching, no starch is present. Okay, so starch test would be negative. So you have to put cross mark, and in explanation you can write down after destarching the plant completely, no starch is present in the leaves as the entire starch is consumed or used up by the leaves for the process of respiration in order to release energy. Okay, hence no starch is present. So starch test would be negative. But when we talk about stage 4 means after the plants were kept inside the glass cover. Okay, so when we talk about plant A, here we had potassium hydroxide beads and here we had glass beads. So these potassium hydroxide beads have completely absorbed carbon dioxide gas from the air. So no photosynthesis took place in plant A. But in plant B, as it was controlled plant, all necessary conditions were provided. So photosynthesis process could easily take place. So A will give you negative test for starch and B will give you positive test for starch. Okay, so here the explanation for A would be as potassium hydroxide beads have absorbed carbon dioxide gas from the air, no photosynthesis could take place, hence starch was absent. And in case of B was controlled plant. It was provided with all the necessary requirements for the process of photosynthesis, hence photosynthesis process could take place and starch was present. In a further experiment, another destarched plant was kept in the dark. The concentration of carbon dioxide in the container was measured at regular intervals and was found to increase with time. Explain why the carbon dioxide concentration was increased. So what they have written, they have taken a destarch plant which was kept in the dark, okay, and then they have noticed that the concentration of carbon dioxide in this container was measured at regular interval, and they found that the concentration of carbon dioxide was increased slowly with time. So what is the reason for increase in carbon dioxide gas? So the key points in this question is they have used here destarch plant, okay, and this destarch plant was kept in dark. The concentration of carbon dioxide was measured at regular intervals, okay, and they found that the carbon dioxide concentration was increased after some times they have checked, okay. Now this question has been given for 3 marks, so you have to write down any 3 valid point. Now carbon dioxide concentration will increase only in 2 cases. First is plant is not performing photosynthesis. As plant is not performing photosynthesis, so plant is not using any carbon dioxide gas, okay. That means the amount of carbon dioxide gas remains same in the surrounding of that particular plant. Second, the carbon dioxide concentration is increasing because another very important process takes place in the plant, that is respiration. And in the process of respiration, carbon dioxide gas is released as a byproduct and oxygen gas is consumed, okay, for the process of respiration. So this is the second reason for increase in carbon dioxide concentration. So here you will get 1 mark for writing no photosynthesis, okay, and second mark you will get if you write down that plants they perform respiration, and third mark you will get if you write down that in the process of respiration carbon dioxide gas is produced. Hence the concentration of carbon dioxide gas has increased around the plant. Hope this question is clear to you guys. And the last question which we are going to discuss in this unit is this one. So a student set up the apparatus shown in figure 3.1 to investigate the effect of light intensity on the rate of photosynthesis of a pond plant. Okay, so a student is actually investigating the effect of light intensity on the rate of photosynthesis. Now what we have done in previous experiment, we were investigating the importance of carbon dioxide gas for the process of photosynthesis. Here in this experiment, the student is investigating the importance of light intensity for the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so whenever such type of questions are asked in ATP paper, make sure that you read the question carefully, because the questions which are asked here are not very tough, but the way they actually represents a question is a little bit complicated. So you have to read the question carefully. Okay, so what the student has done, student has taken a test tube, inverted test tube. In it the student has inverted a pond plant. Okay, inverted test tube has been taken and then inserted a pond plant and filled it with water. Okay, and below this test tube is actually connected to a capillary tube, and this capillary tube is actually connected to a syringe. Okay, and in this capillary tube we have a small air bubble, and right now in beginning the position of this air bubble is 40 millimeter. Okay, here the scale of the ruler is given, it's 40 millimeter. Okay, so syringe is given, fine, and this capillary tube is connected to the test tube. Okay, and in capillary tube we have air bubble. This air bubble actually moves up and down, and it shows the amount of photosynthesis being done by the plant. And this entire experimental setup is receiving light. So this is a table lamp. This table lamp is actually it's movable lamp. Okay, here at bottom also ruler has been kept to note the distance of lamp from the plant. Okay, because in this experiment we are investigating the effect of light intensity on the rate of photosynthesis. Hence the amount of light provided to the plant for the process of photosynthesis should be kept on changing. Okay, then only we'll be able to identify that, okay, when this much amount of light has been provided to plant, so so this is the rate of photosynthesis. And when the light is moved farther, or if the light is moved closer to the plant, this is the rate of photosynthesis. That's the reason we are using here movable lamp, so that it can change the amount of light intensity provided to the plant for the process of photosynthesis. Okay, and in between this plant and the experimental setup, that is test tube and plant, we have kept a glass tank filled with water, and here we have stop clock to note the time. because at every distance, for example, in beginning, if the lamp has been kept at maybe 20 millimeter, so and later on, if the plant has been if the lamp has been kept at 40 millimeter, then 60, 80, 100 millimeter, so at every distance of lamp from the plant, at every distance we have to take the readings for fixed amount of time. Okay, we have to take readings for exact minutes or exact seconds. Okay, that's the reason we're using here stop clock. Fine, you are completely thorough with the concept, so you'll understand that this plant, this water plant, okay, it will perform photosynthesis when light will be provided to this plant, and as a result of photosynthesis, which gas is produced? Oxygen gas is produced. Okay, so in the process of photosynthesis, oxygen gas is produced as a byproduct, and this oxygen gas actually gets collected on the top of the test tube. So here, if the rate of photosynthesis will be more, okay, what will happen? More amount of oxygen gas will be produced, and as more amount of oxygen gas will be produced, more amount of oxygen gas will get collected on the top, and this water in the test tube will move down. Okay, so the water level in the test tube will move down. Okay, now this extra water, or this water which is moving down through this capillary tube, okay, will also move this air bubble towards the downward, okay, in the downward direction. Now I hope you guys are clear with this point. Oxygen gas will be produced as a result of photosynthesis. This oxygen gas gets collected on the top of the test tube. Okay, as more amount of oxygen gas will get collected on the top of the test tube, this water level on the top will move downward. Okay, and as water will move downward, the air bubble in the capillary tube will also move downward, and this excess water will, like, get collected here in this small petri dish or small dish. Okay, so this is how the rate of photosynthesis is measured. So the next, they have given the student maintained the temperature here at 20 degrees Celsius. So temperature is actually a constant variable or controlled variable, and measure the distance traveled by air bubble in the capillary tube for a period of 5 minutes. Okay, that means every reading was taken by students for 5 minutes. That means, for example, if this lamp is kept at a distance of 20 millimeter from the experimental setup, so at this distance the student has taken a reading for 5 minutes. When the student has moved to next distance, for example, maybe 40 millimeter, so again at this distance the student has taken reading for 5 minutes. That means at every distance the student has taken reading at the interval of or for 5 minutes. Okay, so the result of student is actually shown in table 3.1. So this is your table 3.1 where the result of the student is shown. Distance of lamp from pond plant has been given in millimeter. So 20 millimeter, 30 millimeter, 40, 50 and 60. And when the plant was kept at 20 millimeter, so at that particular time, distance traveled by air bubble was 30 millimeter. Okay, when plant was kept at 30 millimeter away from the experimental setup, so the distance traveled by air bubble was 26, and so on. It goes down. Okay, and third column actually shows the rate of photosynthesis. Now, for this fourth row, that is when the lamp was placed at 50 millimeter away from the experimental setup. For example, here you have your test tube and the plant, and your lamp is present here. Okay, that means lamp is present 50 millimeter. Okay, how much far lamp is present? Lamp is present 50 millimeter away from the experimental setup. So when lamp is present 50 millimeter away from the experimental setup, okay, at that time the distance which was traveled by the air bubble was 7 millimeter. That means air bubble went down by 7 millimeter. Okay, now you have to find out the rate of the photosynthesis. Now as you have studied in physics, okay, so you are aware that rate is nothing but speed. Okay, so and we know the formula of speed. Speed is distance upon time. Okay, Now here you actually have to talk about the distance of air bubble and not the distance of lamp. Now this point is important, okay? The distance traveled by air bubble, because we are actually investigating the effect of light intensity on rate of photosynthesis, and in this experiment rate of photosynthesis can be noticed by the distance traveled by air bubble, okay? So the distance traveled by air bubble when lamp was placed at 50 millimeter was 7 millimeter. So here you will have 7 divided by time. Now for how much time the reading was taken? The reading was taken for 5 minutes. It's given above in the question. So 7 divided by 5 would be your 1.4. Okay. So the rate of photosynthesis, that is millimeter per minute, would be 1.4 millimeter per minute. Okay. So 7 divided by 5. So remember, by looking at the plant, by looking at the table here, you can understand as the distance between the experimental setup and lamp is increasing, the distance traveled by air bubble downwards in the capillary tube is decreasing. This that means the amount of oxygen gas which is produced is less. That means lesser amount of oxygen gas means the rate of photosynthesis is less. Okay. So first question is, explain why the student included glass tank and syringe in the apparatus. So this glass tank has been used here because this lamp is the source of light for this pond water plant, and you know that electric current, they have heating effect also. So electric current always produces heat, and the heat which is produced can actually increase the temperature of water which is present around the pond plant. Okay, so this glass tank has been placed so that this glass tank water can easily absorb the excess of heat which is produced by this lamp, and only light can be given to the pond water plant. Next is syringe. So syringe has been inserted here. We'll check in the marking scheme. Syringe has been inserted here to reposition the air bubble, to return the air bubble to the top of the tubing, put the bubble into the tube. Okay, so this bubble is actually placed in the tube with the help of syringe. So syringe is used here in order to insert or place a bubble in the capillary tube. Next question is, explain why the air bubble moves down the capillary tube. Now this question has been given here for 3 marks, very important. So you have to write down the air bubble goes down the capillary tubes because plant, after receiving sufficient amount of light energy, performs the process of photosynthesis. So 1 mark you will get for writing photosynthesis. Second, in the process of photosynthesis, oxygen gas is produced. Okay, so for writing oxygen gas, you can get 2nd mark. This oxygen gas gets collected on the top of the tube. Okay, top of the test tube. I've explained it little before. So oxygen gas gets collected on the top of the test tube, and as more and more amount of oxygen gas gets collected on the top of the test tube, the water level in the test tube decreases. Okay, and this excess water which is present in the test tube moves down through the capillary tube. Now as this water is moving down through the capillary tube, obviously the air bubble which is present in the capillary tube will also move down. Okay, so you will get 3 marks for writing all these points. Next question they have given is, calculate the rate of photosynthesis when lamp was placed 50 millimeter from the pond plant and write your answer in the table. Now they have given here, write your answer in the table. So this point is important. If you will not write answer in the table, you won't be given mark. Okay, only for calculation there is no mark. After calculating the correct answer, you have to write down answer in the table also. Okay, so I have already explained the answer is 1.4. That's because rate is speed. Speed is measured by distance upon time. Distance traveled by air bubble is 7 millimeter in 5 minutes. So 7 divided by 5 will be 1.4 millimeter per minute. Now you have to plot graph. Okay, they have already given the scale. That's the good point. This is your x-axis, and here you have y-axis. Okay, and the graph you have to plot, and this graph is actually given only for 2 marks. Okay, so plot the student's result from table 3.1 on the axis of figure 3.2. Draw an appropriate line on the graph to show the relationship between distance of lamp from the pond plant and the rate of photosynthesis. Now you have to use student's result, and here you have to check the distance of the lamp. Okay, so which distance they're talking about? They're talking about the distance of the lamp from the pond plant and rate of photosynthesis. So this is distance of the lamp from the pond plant, and this is rate of photosynthesis. So at 20 millimeter, when the plant was kept at 20 millimeter, the rate of photosynthesis was 6 millimeter per minute. Okay. So at 20 distance, the rate of photosynthesis was 6 millimeter. Okay, so here you have to mark. Then when the lamp was placed at 30 millimeter, the rate was 5.2. Because I'm plotting here in this. In this graph directly, so it might feel it's little difficult. At 30 it is 5.2. Okay, so at 30, 5.1, 5.2. okay, this is 5.2. okay, and then at 40 it is 2.8. so at 40 we have 2.8. okay, at 50 millimeter it is 1.4. This is your 1.4, and last at 60 millimeter it is 0.6. okay, so 60 millimeter it is 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. okay, so this question here, plotting of graph, is given for 2 marks. So for if your plotting of points on this graph is correct, you will get 1 mark. okay, so 1 mark has been awarded for the plotting of point, and second mark is actually for joining of these plots. okay, remember this, for joining of these plots. okay, so 1 mark is for plotting of this point, and second marks is for joining of plot. Now after your plotting of point is done, you have to join these plots, and while looking at the graph you can make out that you have to draw a line of best fit. okay, so what you can do is you can just place a ruler and try to include maximum points in the ruler. So the line in which maximum points would be, included in the ruler would be your line of best fit. So for joining of the plot, you will get second mark. okay, so all points are plotted accurately. This is for 1 mark, and then curved or straight line of best fit. okay, so here by looking at the point you can make out a line of best fit. If you're not making line of best fit, so you can just join all the plots and draw a curved line as I'm making here, as it's shown here. okay, I'm drawing here. okay, so for this curved line also you can get another mark. Next is using the graph to help you predict the result that the student would get if the lamp was positioned 15 millimeter and 70 millimeter from the pond plant. okay, so you just have to predict the result. okay, so if the lamp was placed at 15 millimeter, okay, so your 15 millimeter would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a 15 millimeter. And if the lamp was placed at 15 millimeter, the result which you will get would be 7. The rate would be 7, or between 6.5. So between 6.5 to 7. So if you write any answer between 6 and 7, you will get 1 mark. Yes. So if you write any answer between 6 and 7, any value between 6 and 7, because this is obvious. This is obvious, right? Because at 20 millimeter distance, if you're getting the rate as 6 millimeter per minute, so obviously at 15 millimeter distance, the rate would be higher than 6 and lesser than 7, because the maximum value which they've given is 7. So it would be between 6 and 7. Okay, you don't have to plot it on the graph, but you just have to write it in the answer given here. Okay, so this should be between 6 and 7 and at 70 millimeter per minute. Now here at 60 they have given the rate which was given at 60 was 0.4 okay millimeter per minute. So obviously at 70 millimeter distance it should be between 0 and 0.4. So you can take 0.1, 0.2 or 0.3. So your range or your value should be between 0.3 and 0. Okay, so it should be between 0 and 0.3. Okay, so this is how you have to apply common sense and predict the result at when lamp was placed at 15 millimeter and 70 millimeter distance. The next question asked is, explain why rate of photosynthesis decreases as the distance of the lamp from the pond plant increases. Okay, so this question is asked for 3 marks. Now they have already given in the question itself, explain why the rate of photosynthesis decreases as the distance of the lamp from the pond plant increases. Okay, so remember to write down as the distance between lamp and the pond plant increases, the amount of light intensity provided to the plant decreases. So 1 mark you will get for writing the light intensity which is provided to the plant for the process of photosynthesis decreases as lamp moves away from the plant. Okay, so 1 mark for writing light intensity decreases. 2nd mark for writing as light intensity decreases, the rate of photosynthesis decreases. Okay, rate of photosynthesis will decrease. Okay, and 2nd mark you will get for writing down, like, you know, as light intensity decreases, so chlorophyll molecules which are present in the leaf, or they will get lesser amount of light, and hence these chlorophyll molecules will not be able to perform photosynthesis. Okay, so rate of photosynthesis will decrease. And finally, this light is actually become limiting factor. So this point of limiting factor, okay, this point of limiting factor is very important. Okay, so this point of limiting factor. So when you will write down this limiting factor, you will get 1 mark. So 1 mark for writing that light intensity decreases. 2nd, chlorophyll molecule will have lesser amount of light for the process of photosynthesis. And 3rd, light intensity becomes limiting factor. Okay. So this was the last question to be discussed in this video. I hope you guys are clear with this entire unit of plant nutrition, and with the help of these past paper questions, I think you have understood the kind of questions which are asked on this unit. In next video onwards, we will start with unit 7, human nutrition. Take care till then.